On March 15, 2026, the media personality Tucker Carlson made a startling claim. He stated he was the subject of a federal investigation. Visual split screen. Carlson, left, CIA and DOJ SEALs. Right, the Central Intelligence Agency. The Department of Justice were examining his communications with individuals in Iran. He alleged government agencies had read his private text messages. The purpose was to build a case against him. He claimed the government intended to accuse him of acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign power. These are serious allegations that touch upon press freedom, national security, and the conduct of public figures. The main figures are clear. Tucker Carlson, Central Intelligence Agency, Department of Justice, President Donald Trump, the Nation of Iran, various news organizations, Newsweek, the New York Times. However, as of this writing, no official charges have been filed against Carlson, and no government agency has publicly confirmed an investigation. Is a prominent American journalist being targeted by his own government for his speech and contacts? Or did his actions cross a line, blurring the boundary between journalism and unauthorized foreign engagement? The central claim made by Tucker Carlson is that he is facing a potential criminal investigation. He publicly stated that the Central Intelligence Agency was preparing a crime report for the Department of Justice. The basis for this report, he alleged, was his communication with certain individuals connected to Iran. According to Carlson, the government's interpretation of these contacts is that he was acting as an agent for the Iranian government. This accusation usually relates to the Foreign Agents Registration Act. FARA requires individuals representing foreign interests in the U.S. to disclose their work to the Department of Justice. The context is the period just before the U.S. military conflict with Iran in early 2026. Reporting from multiple sources, including the New York Times, confirmed Carlson met with then-President Donald Trump at the White House 3 times in January and February. During these meetings, Carlson was reportedly one of the few voices arguing against military action. At the same time, he says he was communicating with people in Iran. That mix of presidential access and contact with an adversary raised concerns in the intelligence community. The potential seriousness cannot be overstated. If a private citizen passed sensitive information or coordinated with a foreign adversary, it could have grave national security implications. This is likely why, Carlson says, his text messages were scrutinized. The government would want to know the nature and content of those discussions. Were they simple journalistic inquiries or back-channel negotiations or information sharing? Carlson framed it as an illegitimate attack on his work. Some security analysts call it a standard counterintelligence concern. Yet much remains unproven. As of March 16, 2026, no copy of the alleged crime report has surfaced. Neither the CIA nor the DOJ has publicly confirmed an investigation. Newsweek and other outlets sought comment and got no confirmation. Legal experts express skepticism a prosecution is likely. They cite the high bar of proof and First Amendment protections for journalists, so the public is left with Carlson's word against official silence. So that's where things stand. A separate and equally dramatic theory has emerged from the intelligence and political commentary spheres. This theory posits that Tucker Carlson was not an Iranian agent, but rather a tool in an American deception campaign. According to this narrative, officials in the Trump administration grew suspicious of Carlson. They allegedly believed he might be leaking information from his high-level meetings. To test this, or to use it to their advantage, they supposedly fed him false information. The specific disinformation: the U.S. was planning a major diplomatic pivot and was not preparing for an imminent attack on Iran. Carlson, believing this to be a major scoop, communicated it to his contacts. The false report made its way to senior levels of the Iranian government. Believing the threat had subsided, Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei allegedly convened a meeting with top aides. That meeting brought key figures together in one place, creating a unique opportunity for a strike. U.S. intelligence supposedly detected the gathering, and the attack, planned for months, was moved up to coincide with it. This Iran trap theory paints a picture of a sophisticated intelligence operation. It suggests the administration used a media personality as an unwitting channel to mislead an adversary, leading directly to a successful military outcome. If true, it's a stunning example of modern information warfare. It would also mean Carlson was not a traitor but a dupe, played by the administration he sought to influence. To better understand the current controversy, it is useful to look at a prior incident involving Tucker Carlson and a foreign power. In February 2024, during a trip to Moscow, Carlson filmed a segment in a local grocery store. He expressed amazement at the low prices and the abundance of goods. He held up a grocery cart of food, claiming it cost far less than it would in the United States. Carlson said the experience went from amused to legitimately angry, and that seeing how ordinary Russians lived would radicalize you against our leaders. The video was widely circulated and became a major talking point. The intended message was clear. The American system was failing its citizens, while the Russian system appeared to provide a better quality of life in basic respects. The segment was political commentary disguised as observation. It was designed to undermine confidence in U.S. leadership and to present Russia in a more favorable light. The video drew immediate, sharp criticism. Critics noted he visited a high-end store in one of Russia's wealthiest cities, not representative of the country. Senator Tom Tillis labeled Carlson a useful idiot, a Cold War term for Westerners who unwittingly spread an adversary's propaganda. Other reporters and travelers shared experiences calling it a Potemkin-style display, a staged, carefully curated reality for a willing outsider. That 2024 incident set important context for the 2026 Iran controversy. It established a pattern, Carlson using his platform to draw favorable comparisons for U.S. adversaries. Critics say the grocery video showed a willingness to promote narratives serving foreign governments' interests, whether for ideological reasons or simply for attention. That history made observers more suspicious when he began communicating with Iranian contacts 2 years later. The Moscow video created a precedent, suggesting Carlson might not be a neutral journalistic observer when dealing with hostile foreign powers. The tactic of using a grocery store to make a political point has a famous historical precedent, but it was used for the opposite purpose. In 1989, Boris Yeltsin visited the United States. He made an unscheduled stop at a Randall's grocery store in a Houston suburb. Yeltsin was reportedly stunned by the variety and quantity of food available: fresh produce, meats, packaged goods. A stark contrast to chronic shortages and long lines in the Soviet system. That visit had a profound impact on Yeltsin. He later wrote in his autobiography the experience shattered his belief in the communist system. He realized official propaganda about American workers was a lie. Abundance, freedom of choice on display, showed deep systemic failure of the Soviet economy. The grocery store became a symbol of the success of capitalism and the failure of communism. Many historians say the visit helped solidify Yeltsin's resolve for radical reforms. Commentators note Tucker Carlson's 2024 Moscow video appears to reverse the Yeltsin narrative. Yeltsin used an American grocery store to expose Soviet failures to his people. Carlson used a Russian grocery store to broadcast supposed American failures to his people. He tried to turn a symbol of American strength on its head. An audacious media tactic: co-opt communist failure and repurpose as capitalist decay. This reversal highlights a potential motive and a method. The goal: not merely report facts, but construct a narrative for an ideological agenda. It shows how powerful symbols can be manipulated for political effect. Critics say Carlson is a political actor engaged in cultural and political warfare. This view strengthens calls to scrutinize his actions in Russia and with Iran as political advocacy that may align with foreign interests. As we assess the claims surrounding Tucker Carlson and Iran, it is vital to acknowledge the significant limitations of the public record. The entire story is built upon a foundation of allegations, anonymous sources, and official silence. Carlson has made a claim, but Newsweek and others report he has not provided documentary evidence. We have not seen the alleged CIA report. We have not seen the text messages in question. We are relying solely on his public statement that he is being targeted by the government. This is a claim, not a verified fact. Similarly, the Iran trap theory is compelling, but it is based on conjecture. Reporting on the theory, like hot air, explicitly cites speculation from commentators and unnamed sources. The idea that President Trump fed Carlson false information to set up a military strike is plausible in espionage terms, but remains unconfirmed. The U.S. government has not declassified information about the intelligence operations that led to the strike. Accepting the theory as fact would require an enormous leap of faith without corroborating evidence from official and named sources. The verifiable facts are few but important. We know from the New York Times and Mediaite that Carlson met with President Trump multiple times before the war. We know Carlson publicly opposed military action against Iran. We know from his own statements he communicated with people in Iran. We also know from TMZ and legal analysts that no charges have been filed and no investigation has been officially confirmed. These are the solid data points in a sea of speculation. Everything else, motives, content of secret messages, hidden strategies, is interpretation. The tangle of claims involving Tucker Carlson, the CIA, Iran, demands a clear and formal resolution. The allegations are too serious to be left to speculation and partisan media battles. If a prominent journalist is being improperly targeted by intelligence agencies, it is a matter of grave concern for the First Amendment. Conversely, if that same individual acted as an undeclared agent for a hostile foreign power, it is a serious breach of national security. Neither possibility should be dismissed without a thorough and transparent review of the facts. Therefore, the appropriate course of action is to call for an official inquiry. Congressional oversight by the House and Senate Intelligence Committees must investigate. They have the authority to request documents and testimony from the CIA, the DOJ, and other relevant agencies. Determine whether an investigation into Carlson exists, what its basis is, and whether the methods used were legal and appropriate. Such a review should protect classified information and the principles of a free press, and a public summary should be released to restore trust. In the meantime, citizens and journalists must proceed with caution and demand evidence before accepting sensational claims. Distinguish confirmed facts from speculative theories. Ultimately, this story tests the balance between national security and individual liberty, the role of a free press, and the line between journalism and activism. The public deserves clear answers, not unsubstantiated rumors. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a like.